So, Genesis 12, Abraham. Abraham, does he travel light or does he take a lot with him? That's the question we're going to answer this morning. So, the Lord said to Abraham, get out of your country, from your family and from your father's house to a land I will show you. Now, as far as we can see, Abraham departed as the Lord had spoken to him. Verse 4. So there is no delay. This is Abraham. He's a man full of faith. God speaks, and he does. It's like almost without punctuation. So Abraham departed. It's just a thing. You know, God said it, so Abraham did it. That's where we are. He's changed his life because God has spoken, and he's changed his life in a particularly fundamental way. He's left behind all the old things and he's gone on to new stuff that he doesn't even understand yet. So God has spoken these promises over Abram, I will make you a great nation. I will bless you. I will make your name great. You shall be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you. I will curse those who curse you. And in you, all the families of the earth shall be blessed. God's magic number, sevenfold blessing. 7 blessings spoken over Abram. It's a particularly I don't really know what the word is. I don't understand some of these things, because what happens is that Abram, who changes his name later to Abraham, which is why I keep calling him Abraham, but it's Abram and Sarai. He's 75. He has no children. God is saying, through you, all the families of the earth will be blessed. I will make you a great nation. It doesn't mean he's going to make him the childless king of a nation and other people are going to provide the nation's people. God is saying, I will make you a nation. You, your family, a nation. There will be so many descendants that you won't be able to count them, mate. You know, you will need a large computer to work out all your descendants and stuff. It is not going to be countable. So, Abram is 75, he has no children. Sarai, her name means barren woman. She is a barren woman. I mean, when they named her, I don't know if she was named that as a baby and it was like a curse over her or something like that, or whether she changed her name to Sarai because they called her Sarai because it became apparent in her 20s and 30s that she was in fact barren. But he is with a known, acknowledged barren woman, and he is 75. Humanly speaking, he is not going to have a nation full of children. Humanly speaking, he isn't even going to get one go at it. You know, but Abram is full of faith. He's full of practical faith. He moves when God asks him to. He takes these 7 promises and he packs up and he moves through the land in a way that we're talking about. He takes his brother's son with him, Lot, whose descendants were Moab and the Ammonites, which sounds a bit like sounds more like a children's cartoon, doesn't it? Sounds like Lot's Children and the Wheelers or something. But Moab and the Ammonites. So off there from his brother's son, you've got the descendants of Moab and the Ammonites, and then you've got Abraham, as he changed his name to, Abraham, the father of nations. So he takes on board what God is saying about you are going to have a nation full of people flow from you. And he changes his name to the father of nations. Now that's open ridicule, isn't it? That's some of the ridicule you get, early ridicule you got from following God. Because God said something, he's done it, and he's nailed his colours to the mast. He changed his name to the father of nations. And he's 75 and his wife is barren. So he is said, I don't care what people say, I don't care about the laughter, I am going to follow God. And sometimes that's what we've got to do. We've got to say, I don't care what people say, I don't care about the laughter, I know I'm going to follow God. What God said to me, I'm going to do it, and where necessary, I will publicly acknowledge that that's what I'm doing. So he's off there. Of course, he does. He's working out God's commitment to humanity post-flood. We've had Noah and the flood, and now we've got God who has said, I'll never flood this earth again. I'm not doing that. I'm committed to humanity, and I'm going to sort out a nation to populate the earth, and it's going to be my people, and I'm going to bless them. So this is God's commitment in a post-flood environment, and he is choosing to work through what we would call a geriatric and a barren woman, so that everybody, when it happens, everybody will know it's God, because it isn't humanly possible for it to have happened any other way. It is a miracle, and it's a continuing miracle because it happens. So they turn from their old life, and they follow God's command. God's promises his descendants in verse 7, I will give you the land. And Abraham's immediate response is to build an altar and to worship God. So God has made this promise. God has done this, and he's said, I will give you this. And so he immediately builds an altar and worships God. And then in verse 8, he pitched his tent, builds an altar, worships God, and calls on the name of the Lord. This is a man who's put the worship and the acknowledgement of God right at the heart of the thing, and it all links forward to our gospel reading, because when we look at the gospel reading, we can see the fulfillment, the acknowledgement of the fulfillment of what Abraham became through God, because they're talking about him as our father Abraham. Are you greater than our father Abraham, who is dead? They challenged him, and they know that the Jews, that race of people, their father, as in one person that they can look back to and say, this is where we came from, all the way back, and they're looking back and they're saying, the father is dead. So there is Abraham, who has, we are seeing in the gospel, the confirmation of the fulfillment of the promise that was made to Abraham, because there he is, as acknowledged thousands of years later as the father of a nation. So God does something, and when it is God that's doing this, and it's promised, and he is acknowledged, and he's worshipped, and he's thanked for it, etc., it comes to pass, it is fulfilled, and then it's publicly acknowledged. There he is, the father of the nation. And Jesus is then able to say, look, this is one of the I am statements of Jesus. It's when he acknowledges who he is to a crowd of people. It's, and they said, look, how can you're not even 50. You are not even 50, and we know he was in his 30s at that point, but you're clearly not even 50. So he must have been having a bad day, because he looked 50, bad day. And you're not even 50. How can you say you've seen Abraham? And he said, look, before Abraham was, I am. And Jesus is using the I am statement, because God, the statement that God uses to identify himself to Moses, I am who I am. And he's using that in two ways. One, to show that he is God, and two, to show that he is transcendent over time, because before Abraham was, I am there at the same time with Abraham. I am there here now, and he is here with us at the same time, because God doesn't do time in the same way that we consider time to be restrictive. So this is the statement that links it all together. They've acknowledged Abraham as the father of the nation, fulfillment of all that God has said in Genesis 12, the sevenfold promises. Jesus is saying, I was there before Abraham, I was there with him, I'm there all through time, I'm here now. And he's also promising that he is here with us in now and into the future. And today, well, this is Saturday we're recording this, but tomorrow, Sunday, and whatever day you're watching it, this service was recorded for Valentine's Day weekend. Now, a Valentine's card is a communication expressing love and the invitation to start a relationship. It's somebody who loves you, who thinks you're great, and who wants a relationship with you, but doesn't currently have one. Now that is like the gospel, the Bible, and Jesus coming to earth. It's God saying, look, I love you, I think you're great, and I want a relationship with you, and that relationship is on offer to you now. If you want to take it up, all you have to do is talk to me. And it's like the classic double date or foursome invitation of all time, isn't it? This is my friend Jesus. He's dying to meet you.